Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're ditching the casual wear and stepping into a world of luxury. Think five-star resorts, pristine beaches, and yeah, maybe even a personal butler. We're diving into Ventive Hospitality's recent IPO.
What makes this deep dive especially interesting is the timing. You see, Ventive Hospitality, formerly known as ICC Realty, just went public on September 5th, 2024. So practically fresh out of a rebrand.
A rebrand and an IPO,
Yeah.
all in just a few months. That's a bold move. It definitely makes you wonder, what are they trying to signal to investors? Let's rewind a bit, give our listeners some context. What's the backstory on this company?
Well, they've been around for a while, actually. Originally incorporated as O4U Realty back in 2002. Then they went through a couple of name changes, first to ICC Realty in 2003, and then to Ventive Hospitality just this past July, right before going public.
So they've had some time to build up their portfolio. What kind of properties are we talking about here?
They're focused on the luxury and upper upscale segments of the hospitality industry, primarily in India and the Maldives. We're talking high-end resorts, destination hotels, the kind of places that make you forget about, your daily grind.
All right, listener, picture yourself checking into a beachfront villa in the Maldives, or maybe a swanky suite in a bustling Indian city. That's the kind of experience Ventive is selling. But before we get too caught up in the fantasy, let's ground ourselves in the reality of the market. What's the outlook for the hospitality industry in these regions?
The industry is poised for significant growth, particularly in the luxury segment. India, with its rapidly expanding middle-class and high-income population, is seeing a surge in demand for upscale travel and hospitality experiences. The Maldives, already a tourism powerhouse, is known for attracting high-spending travelers seeking exclusivity and luxury.
Sounds like Ventive is strategically positioned to ride this wave of growth. But the Maldives in particular seems like a unique and potentially challenging market.
It is, definitely. The one island, one resort concept that dominates the Maldives creates a very competitive landscape. Each resort is vying for the attention of a limited pool of high-end travelers.
So this exclusivity, it comes at a price, of course, and it requires a deep understanding of what this, discerning clientele is looking for.
Right.
It's fascinating, isn't it? The Maldives is this tiny island nation, yet it punches way above its weight when it comes to attracting luxury tourism. So how does Ventive fit into this picture? What's their business model? How do they actually make money?
Ventive focuses on developing and owning hospitality assets, but they don't operate the hotels themselves. They partner with big global brands like Marriott, Hilton, Minor, and Atmosphere to handle the day-to-day operations.
So it's a bit like a real estate play, combined with a branding strategy. They get the prestige of these global brands without the headaches of managing the properties.
Exactly. And their revenue streams reflect this model. They generate income from room rentals, food and beverage sales, and other hotel services like banquets, spa treatments, and even membership fees.
Sounds like a pretty diverse revenue mix. But is there anything in their financials that stands out as particularly noteworthy? Maybe something that might, raise an eyebrow for potential investors?
Well, there is one thing. A significant portion of their revenue comes from just 4 key properties. The Anantara and Conrad resorts in the Maldives, the JW Marriott in Pune, India, and one other property that was redacted in the materials we received.
That's a pretty heavy reliance on a small number of properties. It makes you wonder, what would happen if one of those properties faced challenges, maybe a downturn in tourism or an unexpected event?
That's a valid concern, and it's something we'll definitely want to explore further when we delve into their risk factors later on. But for now, let's stick with the financials and see what their overall performance looks like.
Okay, listener, get ready to crunch some numbers because we're about to dive into Ventive's financial performance. What are the key metrics we need to understand to assess their profitability and efficiency?
To get a clear picture of how they're doing, we'll need to look at key ratios like occupancy rate, average room rate, which is also called ARR, and revenue per available room, or RevPAR. The prospectus provides data for the 6 months leading up to September 30, 2024, as well as for the full fiscal years of 2022, 2023, and 2024. We'll be able to see trends over time and compare them to industry benchmarks to assess their performance, relative to their peers.
This is where the rubber meets the road, folks. We're about to see if Ventive's luxury offerings are translating into solid financial returns. What's the first data point that jumps out at you?
Their occupancy rate is a good place to start. It tells us how effectively they're filling those luxurious rooms. In fiscal year 2022, their occupancy rate was 34.82%. That jumped significantly to 63.67% in fiscal year 2023, and then settled at 59.47% for the 6 months ending September 30, 2024.
So a pretty dramatic increase in occupancy over the past couple of years. That suggests they're gaining traction in the market and attracting guests to their properties.
It does. But it's worth noting that the 2022 numbers might be skewed by factors like the pandemic's impact on travel.
Right, context is everything when analyzing these numbers. So they're filling rooms. But are they charging a premium for those luxurious accommodations? What does their average room rate tell us?
In fiscal year 2024, their average room rate was 85,325.79 rupees.
Wow, that's a pretty hefty price tag.
Yeah,
It seems like they're not just attracting guests, they're attracting guests who are willing to pay top dollar for a taste of luxury.
exactly. And that high average room rate translates into a strong RevPAR, which is a key metric for gauging hotel profitability. In fiscal year 2024, their RevPAR stood at 40,734.55 rupees.
So, based on these numbers, it seems like Ventive is on an upward trajectory in terms of operational efficiency and profitability. But as you mentioned earlier, we need to compare these figures to industry averages and their competitors to get a complete picture.
Absolutely. We also need to consider their market presence, their competitive positioning, and of course, those all-important risk factors.
Well, listener, it seems like we've got a lot more ground to cover. We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive into Ventive Hospitality.
Welcome back. Before we went away, we were just starting to unpack Ventive's financial performance. Now, to really understand how they stack up, we need to look beyond their individual numbers. We have to compare them to the wider industry.
Right. Because a high RevPAR in one market, it might be considered average in another. What kind of comparisons should our listener be making?
Well, in Tune, for example, Ventive's luxury properties boast an ARR index of 1.44 compared to other luxury hotels in the city.
So that means they're commanding a price premium of nearly 45% compared to their competitors in Pune. That's pretty impressive.
It is. It suggests that their properties, their brand partnerships, and the overall experience they're offering are resonating with guests who are willing to pay a premium for those extras.
And what about the Maldives? How do their properties there compare?
The Conrad and Anantara resorts in the Maldives have an ARR index of 1.04.
So even in a highly competitive market like the Maldives, known for its luxury offerings, they're still managing to charge slightly higher prices than their peers. It seems like their strategy of partnering with those global brands is paying off.
It does. However, it's important to remember that ARR is just one piece of the puzzle. Occupancy rates, operating costs, and overall market conditions, those all play a role in determining a hotel's profitability.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. We know Ventive has a presence in Pune and the Maldives. But what about their overall market reach? Are they concentrated in specific regions? Or are they spreading their bets, so to speak?
They're primarily focused on those two markets right now, Pune and Bengaluru in India and the Maldives. But they do have plans to expand into new territories, which we'll discuss a little bit later.
It sounds like they're being strategic about their growth, focusing on markets where they see strong potential. But let's dig a little deeper into their current markets. Pune, for instance.
Yeah.
What's attracting them to that city in particular?
Pune is a fascinating market. It's experiencing rapid economic growth, fueled by industries like IT and manufacturing. New office spaces are popping up all the time, which translates into increased demand for hotels, particularly in the luxury segment. Ventive is well positioned to capitalize on this trend.
They're catering to the business traveler who wants to work hard and play hard.
Exactly. They're offering a blend of convenience and luxury, catering to a discerning clientele that values both productivity and indulgence.
And the Maldives, as we've already discussed, is a completely different beast. It's all about that exclusive island experience, attracting a global clientele seeking a luxurious escape from reality.
It is, and it's a market that demands a different approach. Ventive's properties in the Maldives are all about offering unparalleled luxury, privacy, and personalized service. They're not just selling a room, they're selling a fantasy, an escape from the ordinary.
It's intriguing how they're navigating these two distinct markets, each with its own unique dynamics and challenges. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about this IPO. They're looking to raise a significant amount of capital, right?
That's right. They're aiming to raise 16 billion rupees, primarily to pay down existing debt.
That's a pretty hefty sum. It makes you wonder what their current debt situation is and how much this IPO will really impact their financial stability.
That's a crucial question for potential investors to consider. Beyond just looking at the total amount raised, we need to understand their debt-to-equity ratio. and how this offering will affect their overall financial health. The prospectus will offer some insights, but investors will likely want to dig deeper and really understand the specifics of their debt situation.
It's like peering behind the curtain, trying to get a sense of their true financial position. And speaking of revealing glimpses, what about this rebranding? They went from ICC Realty to Ventive Hospitality just before the IPO. What's the thinking behind that?
Rebranding can be a powerful tool, especially before an IPO. It can signal a new strategic direction, a fresh start, an attempt to reshape public perception. In Ventive's case, it's interesting to consider whether the name change is simply about aesthetics or if it represents a more profound shift in their business model or target market.
It's almost like they're trying to shed their old skin and emerge as this revitalized, luxury-focused company.
Exactly. Investors will want to look beyond the surface
Yeah.
and really understand the motivations behind this rebranding and how it aligns with their future plans.
It's a reminder that investing isn't just about numbers. It's about understanding the narrative, the strategy, the underlying story that those numbers tell. But let's not forget about the other side of the coin, the risks. Every investment carries its own set of potential downsides, and Ventive's IPO is no exception.
You're right. We've already touched on their reliance on those 4 key properties, which could make them vulnerable to localized challenges.
And they're operating in a highly competitive industry, subject to economic fluctuations, shifts in travel patterns, and even global events that can impact tourism.
Not to mention the complexities of operating internationally, navigating different regulatory environments, currency fluctuations, and geopolitical risks.
And then there's the fact that they don't have a long, consolidated operating history as a single entity. They've made a number of acquisitions in recent years. So integrating those properties and establishing a consistent track record will be key to building investor confidence.
That lack of a long track record can make it difficult to assess their true performance potential and predict future success. Investors might be wary of this uncertainty.
So it's a mixed bag, isn't it? On the one hand, they've got strong financials, a clear growth strategy, and they're operating in markets with high potential. But on the other hand, they face a number of risks, some specific to their business model and others inherent to the industry itself.
Exactly. And that's why it's crucial for potential investors to do their due diligence. Go beyond the glossy brochures and the marketing hype and really dig into the details. Understand the company's history, their financial performance, their market position, their growth strategy, and the risks involved.
It's about weighing the potential rewards against the potential downsides and making an informed decision based on your own investment goals and risk tolerance.
And that's precisely what we aim to do on the deep dive. Provide you with the information and the insights you need to make those decisions with confidence. Now, before we jump into Ventive's growth strategy and their plans for the future, let's pause for a moment and recap what we've covered so far.
Great idea. We've thrown a lot of information at our listener today.
They have. We started by exploring Ventive's background, their journey from humble beginnings as O4U Realty to their current position as a luxury hospitality player seeking a global presence. We then delved into the dynamics of the luxury hospitality market, highlighting the growth potential and the competitive landscape in both India and the Maldives.
We then took a deep dive into their financials, analyzing their occupancy rates, average room rates, and revenue per available room, to gauge their operational efficiency and profitability.
And we explored their market presence, comparing their performance to industry benchmarks and highlighting the strategic rationale behind their focus on specific regions.
We also dissected their IPO, examining the size of the offering, the intended use of proceeds, and the implications for their debt situation.
And of course, we didn't shy away from the risks, discussing the potential downsides that investors need to consider before making a decision.
So we've laid the groundwork, providing a comprehensive overview of Ventive Hospitality and the factors that could influence their future success. Now, with all that in mind, let's turn our attention to what lies ahead. What are their plans for the future? And do they have what it takes to become a true leader in the world of luxury hospitality? We'll be right back to tackle those questions. We're back and ready to unpack Ventive's ambitious roadmap for the future. It seems like they're not content with just, maintaining their current position. They're actively looking to expand their footprint and solidify their presence in the world of luxury hospitality.
That's right. They've outlined plans for developing new properties in 2 very distinct locations, Sri Lanka and Varanasi.
Now, those are 2 destinations that pique my interest. Sri Lanka with its pristine beaches and, lush landscapes. And Varanasi, a city steeped in history and spirituality. They seem like very different markets, each with its own unique appeal and challenges. What's the strategy behind choosing these specific locations?
It's all about strategic diversification. By expanding into new territories, they're not only tapping into new customer bases, but they're also mitigating some of the risks associated with being overly reliant on their existing markets.
So spreading their bets, geographically speaking, makes them less susceptible to downturns in any one particular region.
Precisely. And both Sri Lanka and Varanasi represent significant growth opportunities in the luxury hospitality sector.
Let's break it down, starting with Sri Lanka. What's attracting them to this island nation?
Sri Lanka's tourism industry is rebounding after some recent challenges, and there's a growing demand for upscale accommodations that cater to a discerning international clientele. Ventive sees an opportunity to leverage their expertise in developing and managing luxury properties
Yeah,
to tap into this burgeoning market.
it makes sense. They've already proven their ability to create successful luxury destinations in India and the Maldives. So why not apply that knowledge and experience to a new setting?
Exactly, and their strategy in Sri Lanka seems to mirror their approach elsewhere. They're planning to partner with well-known hotel brands, leveraging established relationships to, well, minimize risk and maximize brand recognition.
So it's a tried and true formula for them. Partner with a global brand, develop a stunning property, and attract those high-end travelers seeking a luxurious escape. But surely entering a new market like Sri Lanka comes with its own set of challenges.
Of course. And they'll need to navigate local regulations, understand the cultural nuances of the market, and ensure that their offerings align with the expectations of travelers visiting Sri Lanka.
And they'll need to differentiate themselves from the competition. Sri Lanka already has a well-established tourism infrastructure, so Ventive will need to offer something truly unique and compelling to stand out from the crowd.
Agreed. They'll need to tap into the unique essence of Sri Lanka, its rich culture, its natural beauty, its historical significance, to create experiences that resonate with travelers seeking something authentic and memorable.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it? Creating a luxury experience that feels both indulgent and authentic, respectful of the local culture while still offering those high-end touches that discerning travelers expect.
It is. But if they can pull it off, they have the potential to create something truly special in Sri Lanka.
Now let's shift our focus to Varanasi. This one is particularly intriguing to me. It's such a unique and historically significant city, a place where ancient traditions meet modern life in a truly captivating way. What's Ventive's vision for capturing the essence of Varanasi in a luxury hospitality setting?
It's a bold move for sure. Varanasi is a sacred city, a pilgrimage destination for millions of Hindus, and it already has a strong hospitality sector catering to that market. However, Ventive is betting that there's a growing demand for upscale accommodations that offer a blend of modern comfort and cultural immersion.
So they're targeting those travelers who want to experience the spiritual heart of Varanasi without sacrificing luxury and comfort.
Precisely. They're aiming to create a haven where guests can immerse themselves in the rich tapestry of Varanasi's culture and traditions, while enjoying the amenities and personalized service of a high-end hotel.
Imagine waking up to the sounds of morning chants, stepping out onto your private balcony overlooking the Ganges River, and starting your day with a yoga session as the sun rises, then spending your day exploring the ancient temples and ghats, immersing yourself in the spiritual energy of the city, before returning to your luxurious hotel for a gourmet meal and a peaceful night's sleep.
That's a compelling vision, isn't it? But pulling it off will require a deep understanding of Varanasi's unique character and a sensitivity to the cultural and religious sensitivities of the city.
It can't feel like a superficial or exploitative attempt to, capitalize on the city's spiritual heritage. It needs to feel authentic and respectful, a genuine attempt to create a space where guests can connect with the soul of Varanasi in a meaningful way.
Absolutely, and that's where their choice of location, their design aesthetic, and their overall approach to hospitality will be crucial. They'll need to integrate seamlessly into the existing fabric of the city, while still offering those luxurious touches that their target market expects.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act, but if they can pull it off, it could be a truly unique and successful venture.
It could, and it aligns perfectly with their overall growth strategy of targeting destinations with unique cultural and historical significance.
So it seems Ventive has a clear vision for the future. Expand into new markets, leverage existing brand partnerships, and create authentic luxury experiences that resonate with today's traveler. But vision is one thing, execution is another. What do you think? Do they have what it takes to turn this vision into reality?
Well, they certainly have the ambition and the drive. They've established a track record of success in India and the Maldives. They've assembled a strong management team, and they seem to have a keen understanding of the luxury hospitality market. But they're also operating in a dynamic and fiercely competitive industry, subject to global economic forces, geopolitical uncertainties, and ever-evolving consumer preferences.
So it's a high-stakes game with no guarantees of success.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so exciting, right? Watching a company like Ventive strive to achieve its goals, navigating the complexities of the market and trying to create something truly special in the process.
It is. And that's what we love about the deep dive, exploring these complex stories, dissecting the opportunities and the challenges, and providing our listener with the information they need to make their own informed decisions.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today, from Ventive's humble beginnings to their ambitious plans for the future. We've analyzed their financials, scrutinized their strategy, and explored the risks and the potential rewards of investing in their vision. Listener, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of Ventive Hospitality and the factors that could shape their future.
Remember, we're not offering financial advice. This is purely for informational purposes. Always do your own research, consult with qualified professionals, and make investment decisions that align with your own financial goals and risk tolerance.
That's right. Knowledge is power. And the more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to navigate the complex world of investing. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of luxury hospitality. We look forward to exploring another fascinating topic with you soon. Until then, happy investing.